Hi, so this is part 2 of the video. So what I was saying is that you can use the unit planner from the MYP, but you can also use my model of the unit planner, which is basically the one from the IB to which I've added links in order to ease the task actually. So I have a blank version. You can just press on it if you want to use this. It's just that I've added like a few lines like here, global context exploration, because you have to write it down. So I've just like put some more information into it in order to ease the task. Same thing with the approaches to learning skills. We have to state it like that. So I've already like written, this will be in module 4, but I've already written like the sentence in order to ease the task. And same thing when we talk about differentiation, we can consider content, processes, or products. So it's already written, it's in order to help. And also here, the statement of inquiry, the conceptual understanding actually is not mandatory in the unit plan, but we'll do it in our activity. So that's why I've written it there. And I always find it interesting actually, because we could use the same conceptual understanding for many different global context explorations. Okay, so that is basically the blank model, but I also have a model with the links and some comments. So when you click on it, once again, if you want to use it, you press on file and you just download a copy to your computer. Once you've done that, it's no longer the file, well, my file, it becomes yours. And as you can see, the mathematical concepts that we've had is just my print screen, which is here. I have also printed out and in a PDF file the global context for it to go faster to find global context explorations. So these are resources. There are also the links to my videos from my IB that explains how to build a unit plan, and also the guides, and you can see throughout some things which we'll see. Let's say this would be in module 4, how to ask inquiry questions. So everything's like there. Also, I've put in like the mathematics criteria, the grid, the rubrics actually, so you can just click on it, because in a Word document which you can modify, but well, actually you download it and then you can modify it in order to give clarification to your students. So these are all things that we will see throughout the workshop. So I just wanted to help by doing that. I have the equivalent for my teachers at my school, and I share these with many different schools as well. Okay, so at the end, of course you don't want all of these links. So what you do is you just press on the right button and then you can erase the line. If you erase the line, the row, then it becomes as if it was never there. So it's pretty simple actually. So what I want to do, actually, you can already start. As you've seen in module 2, learning engagement 3, you have chosen a key concept. Let's say that it is a relationship, ships, and then the related concepts. Let's say that it is representation, but you can have chosen anything, and there's let's say quantity, and it could be anything. The global context, let's say that I use, as I've said, global globalization and sustainability, which I will not state in my statement of inquiry, and the global context exploration. Let's say data-driven decision. Well, it could be, let's say I would just use actually the human impact in the environment. It is going to have to be related to the summative task, which we will define in module 3. So perhaps you will do some work and perhaps we will come back to it in order to have your summative task, which we will do later, directly related to your SOI. So for now, we will consider context. We'll try to build up a summative task which is linked to it, but perhaps you can go back and forth. It's not a linear process to build a unit plan. So the conceptual understanding and the statement of inquiry, for instance, let's say, I would say relationships between quantities, which is, let's say, quantities can be found, of course. I could, well, I'll say just can be represented to keep it simple. So here I have my three concepts. So I have the related concept relationships. I have the key concept relationship and the related concepts quantities and representation. So let's say I use these, and that this would be my conceptual understanding, and it could be used in science, it could be used in many different subjects, and this is the idea. We want to foster interdisciplinary work and understanding projects and activities. So for the statement of inquiry, we want to add the global context exploration. I just want to erase 0 because it doesn't help. So I could say that to show the human impact on the environment. So let's say that I'm trying to sensitize students, let's say on a poster. Perhaps that would be my task, and that I want the students to represent relationship between quantities that they found about how the human have impacted the environment about different subjects. So this would be my global context exploration. As you can see, I have not stated globalization and sustainability in it. And this is basically the learning engagement 3. So our unit is started, and of course I can write already that, let's say I'm in year 2 of the MYP, etc. I can start to build our unit plan. Okay, so I'm going back to module 2. I know it takes some time, but I know that many teachers in past have asked me for examples in order to ease the task. So this is the point. So we can start already to plan, but it's not mandatory. You can just post your answers within the box. Just post the key concept, related concept, global context exploration, and your conceptual understanding and statement of inquiry, all of it in learning engagement 3. The rest of the unit goes pretty fast. Once we have chosen a context, once we have, we can think about how we could bring the students to act. What ideas do you have about, let's say that your topic, let's say that I would use, as I've did already, the idea of representing relationships in order to show the human impact on the environments. Then I could do a poster, I could do a website, I could perhaps do a conference about it, using some graphs in order to show what's happening in the world. So this could be 3 actions that we could do. And then you can identify the service outcomes. In order to ease the task, I just listed here, copied from page 24 of the MYP, from principles into practice, the learning outcomes. So we can choose while doing that, because it's a teamwork. The student will be able to work collaboratively with others to develop international mindedness, and so on. Okay, and also I've written, this comes from the community service guide, the type of action which can be done, and this is interesting perhaps to read in order to try to help you find ideas about service as action, and just explain why you have chosen these ideas. So this only brings us to think about a more authentic task. Let's go back to the learning engagement activity. There's one left, the 5th one, and this goes really fast actually. There are 8 subject groups in the MYP, so you just have to select one which could fit with your context, and that you could share, perhaps work collaboratively with the other teacher in order to build something, and eventually perhaps an interdisciplinary unit plan. But for now, just try to think about how you can use another subject group that aligns with your unit with your context, with what you've developed in module 2, and you just post that subject and why you have chosen that subject here. So it's really short. Okay, so I have chosen, let's say, science because I want to explain the causes of like the human impact on the environment. And that would be my answer, really fast answer actually. So I hope these videos help and that you have a great week. And I remind you, just try to follow pace and try to work throughout the workshop. At the end, we will have a really large amount of ideas shared by the others. So I encourage you to do your work like on pace, 1 module per week. So have a great week, and perhaps I'll see you in the virtual meetings. So bye-bye.